All right, shalom, shalom. All praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Bahasham, Rakah, Kwadash. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, the creator of heaven and earth, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and God of Jacob, the God which the scripture speaks of. And Yahweh Shai's only begotten Son, which the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, and the Rakah, Kadash, which is the Holy Spirit. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Stone who are pushing this 100% truth of the gospel, helping to wake up and to seal the elect of the nation of Israel. And salutation to all you sincere Archimedes that are pushing this gospel in righteousness and sincerity, risking your lives and your freedom to do so. Alright, so we're going to go into today's touch that I've gone into a long time ago, But now that the Spirit has jumped on me to do it, I might as well do it, because as the title of this lesson says, are the Igbo people of Nigeria descended from the tribe of God. Because you have this doctrine and it's really big, here in Nigeria. It's basically like the only doctrine that our people, specifically, the Igbos, which is Judah, fall back on whenever they want to bring out history concerning how they are related to the land of Israel. Basically going into how when I say we, I mean us that are come from the tribe of the Igbos in Nigeria. We are descended from the tribe of Judah because according to the history, there are lots of stories going into different variations of the story, but this one is the most the one that explains it the best in the best way, and it is still there are still holes in the story, and it is still a little bit off. Or basically, just to summarize it, just basically goes like this, so what I'm looking for. Jacob's two handmaidens, Bilhah and Zilpah, so like if I'm getting the name wrong, but they were Canaanites, according to the history. I'm not sure that that's actually true or not, because I don't really know, because the scriptures never actually mentioned, what nationality they were. But basically, that's how this history goes, and all the children that were born out of them would have been, either, I meant to say they were Hamites, not Canaanites. So all the children that would have been born from them had to have been mixed, basically, darker than normal Israelite color, which the history is insinuating that Jacob was a so-called Edomite or a so-called white man, which is false, because that all the children of Israel, their father and their mothers, which would be Sakya. So all the children of Israel, which would be from the 12 tribes onto their father and their mother, Rachel, Leah, Zilpah, and Bilhah, all of them are dark-skinned people, that basically because that was the color which people had during that time. Until the birth of Esau, there were no so-called white people or red people or pale people, whatever term you want to use on the earth. So I'm going to go into it. I'm going to go into this article a little bit, talking about how the Bible proves that the Igbos are Israelites. Of course we already know that, but this one is this variation is of the tribe of God. Now before we go into this, let me just say this, that will there be people that are here in Nigeria that are Igbos that are of the tribe of God? Most definitely. In the same way that there will be people that will be of the northern kingdom, but it is not a majority of them are of the tribe of God, because it would have been possible, but the way that they break it down, the way that basically the people that say that we are descended from God, the way they break it down is wrong, and I didn't want to use such a strong term, but basically, but it can't, it's not historically or scripturally accurate, It's all kinds of messed up. So just go into it. I really start reading the article. The tribe of God, though often forgotten and usually least to be named when one recalls the names of the 12 tribes, and though not as prominent as Judah or Levi, who never have been lost. And you see that's where the guy goes off right there, because the scriptures tell us that all the tribes would be lost because they would fall out of their heritage. And this is once again where I was saying that even the Igbos of our people, the Igbos of our people here in Nigeria that say that they are Israelites, they are always trying to join themselves to those fake Jews, those issues, without realizing that they are the true Israelites and those are the impostors. And it's supposed to be the other way around. Those issues are supposed to be trying to prove that their line goes back, to us, to us, basically, to the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Not just the Igbos, They're supposed to be the ones trying to prove that their lines go back to us, not us trying to prove that our lines go back to them. That's how Esau has turned That's a good example of how Esau has turned things upside down. And that to get that, maybe I should go to that, precept concerning how all of our people would stray from their heritage. That's in the book of Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4, where it clearly tells you that what the Most High would make our people to forget their heritage. When he said that he was speaking to Jeremiah, which, if I remember correctly, was of the if I remember my history correctly, and if I'm wrong about this, maybe you brother should correct me, and I'm sorry for being wrong about that. But basically, that's I'm saying basically, not again. I think it's Jeremiah 7:14. I can't remember the exact precept. So I can't remember the exact precept. Jeremiah, where it said that the Most High was that discontinue from our heritage, and and the person that the Most High told that to Jeremiah, was a Levite, meaning that even the tribe of Levi, the tribe of Judah, all of them had discontinued from our heritage, meaning that we forgot who we were as a people. Okay, Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4. Right, so let me just read this real quick before I go back into the article. So this is the book of Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. So that was speaking to all. So I was speaking to all of our people, not just a certain number of them. It isn't going to be that all the 10 tribes forgot who they were, and they had to and only the southern kingdom, which is Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, remembered who they were, and they were in the land of Israel waiting for the 10 tribes to remember who they are and come back to the land of Israel before the Most High will now deliver them, or some dumb shit like that. All of our people took part of this because all of our people were wicked. Of course, if you go into the history, Northern Kingdom fell off first, but that doesn't change the fact that all of our people are wicked, and we all did the same amount of wickedness. Whether one person fell off first or another person didn't. So let me just go back into the article. After that I've gotten that out of the way, and I continue. Nonetheless, God is directly important to prophetic history and events, which is correct. They must be found, and they have already been found. In case you did not know, the true Gadites, according to the Bible, are the Native American Indians. Your Cherokees, your so that's all of them. That's about as much as I know about the Gadite tribes. To do a thorough and solid investigation, we must start at the beginning, and a brief and basic genealogical breakdown from Adam to God as followed: Adam, Noah, Shem, Eber, Abraham, Jacob, Israel, and God. And he skipped a few people, specifically Salah, which was, I believe, that is the son of Shem, Peleg, Joktan. I think that Joktan was his brother, but Peleg, he skipped Abraham's father, which was I forgot Abraham's father's name. He skipped he skipped a few people. But I think he even goes into the ones that he skipped here. I also skipped most of the children of Adam. But that's just his rights so far concerning the lineage, showing you the breakdown of how the lineage of the promises went down from Adam all the way to Israel, and of course to the 12 tribes, not just God. Just in case some people are thinking that that would be the case, but the way he goes off is that he goes into the book of Joshua a little bit, and then now goes into another book that I've never even seen before, which is the records of God, I believe. That's basically where we have to stop there and go into a different article. Then we'll bring out some scriptures and we'll end it there, because there isn't even that much scriptures to bring out. This is mostly a concerning history. There's that more than biblically, because even if you can read the Bible up and down, Old Testament, New Testament, Apocrypha, there was never a time in which we'll go into that a little bit later. But let me just keep reading. So let me just start from here. God was the seventh son of Jacob, the first son of Jacob and Zilpah, the handmaid of Leah, because that story will be in the book of Genesis. So let's go to that. So, yeah, let's just go to that. Let's just go to that so that you can see it for yourself. Genesis chapter 30, I believe. So let me look for it. Okay, yeah, it is. Genesis chapter 30, verse 9. And when Leah saw that she had left bearing, she took Zilpah her maid and gave her Jacob to wife. And Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a son. And Leah said, A troop cometh, and she called his name Gad. And the word Gad in the Hebrew means troop. And the reason why Leah called her Gad is because of, first of all, according to the prophecy which is in the book of Genesis chapter 49. Let me go to that. Because that was a spiritual name. Because here in Great Millstone we believe in something called a nomen omen, which means name prediction. Nomen being name and omen being prediction. But basically believing that the name that you have been given, it was actually the most high putting that spirit on your parents to give you that name in order to predict what will happen to you. And you can use the name of the 12 tribes to predict who they are today. Which is how we know that the Gadites are the Native American Indians. So let me read the prediction, and also, of course, because Leah is God's surrogate mother, saw a troop, saw an army when she wanted to name him, and that made her to, or caused that to call him God. So let me go to that. Here it is. The book of Genesis chapter 49 verse 19. God, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. And this troop is speaking of Esau, Edom, those conquistadors of the northern or the Latin tribes. Basically Cristobal Colon and those, Portuguese and those other Edomites that so Cristobal Colon was Latin tribes again. Basically when Esau, the ones that are I've forgotten the exact details, but when Esau, Esau basically all the things that they had done to Native Americans, killing them off, nearly reducing their numbers to nearly zero, so much so that they are barely, that there are barely no Gadites on the there's barely not as much Gadites, as much Native American Indians as there should be on the earth right now. The troop that overcame them, speaking of Esau Edom, the troops of Esau Edom, led by Christopher Columbus, Cristobal Colon, which is his true name. when he invaded, because that's what he did. They say that he discovered America, but in this truth we know that he invaded America and he killed the original inhabitants, inherited their land, smallpox, blankets, and the like. And then this man becomes celebrated, for what? Because he's an Edomite hero. He gave his people, he gave Esau victory. The same way we would celebrate King David for slaughtering the Edomites by the dozens. Exactly, I said dozens, by the 100,000s. The same way we would celebrate Yahushua for destroying this kingdom and killing nearly everybody on this planet. Because he is our hero as well. All right, so let me keep going into this article before I jump into something else. So that's basically all I have to get from this article, because it starts going into the book of Joshua, which of course we know that even though there is an original book of Joshua, the one that we have currently in circulation is not it. All right, because it all put a lot of false doctrine. Better the truth. Try to squeeze in lies with the truth, but through the spirit and power we have we have been able to escape the snares of this devil. But the scripture says, if it were possible, he would have deceived the very elect, and he could have deceived us with that book of Joshua. But Barakata Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, that Yahushai did not allow us to fall into this snare. Normally I'm talking about Yahushai not allowing us, not allowing us to fall into snares. Let me say this, that there are a lot of that whenever you want to go into this history, whenever you try to go into history, I try to connect it to the scriptures, you see how many philosophies and how many doctrines there are out there that how our people are trying to find their history. When you try to go inside, you see how many doctrines that our people have created, just in the search to find their history. And it just shows you more and more how destroyed as a people that we are. And so the scripture says that the gods of Judah are as many as his cities. Because Judah has created all these philosophies. When I speak of Judah, I speak of not just Judah, but the whole Hebrew Israelite nation. We have created all these philosophies, all these doctrines for ourselves that are not all accurate, because after all, there's only one truth. Some of them have mixtures of the truth in them, but it goes off, heavily in one point or the other. That's why you thank Yahweh. That's why they will give thanks, praises, glory, and thanks. Tawada Yahweh Bashim Yahweh, that we managed to find this truth, that out of the millions upon millions of different doctrines that we could have fallen into, Mormonism, Rastafarianism, even Judaism, even whatever, all the other doctrines that our people have, we managed to fall into this one. We fell into the truth, the true Hebrew Israelite doctrine. Alright, so let me just go into this one, the oral evidence, and this is where the part that actually brings out the more information about this whole doctrine of our people, the people of the Igbo tribes of Nigeria being of the tribe, of the tribe, or being of the children of God. Right. A good let me read that. This is the prelude. So this talks about God's sons, Eri, Areli, and Arodi. And it reads in the book of Genesis 46:16, we read that the three sons of God are named Eri, Areli, and Arodi. As stated earlier, Numbers 26:1-14 and 15-18. And it came to pass that after the plague, talking about this plague, about the plague which the Most High has sent on our people during that time, because they failed to obey the Lord's statutes and commandments of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. They were continuing, they were doing and worshipping other gods, and the Most High sent that plague upon them. And the only way to cure the plague was that snake that Moses had crafted. They just look upon it, and they started worshipping that snake too. God damn, checked, man. When you think about all the things that people have done against the Most High, it really humbles you down, and you start to remember that how merciful our power truly is. Let me just go into this article. I don't want this thing to be too long, but here I am talking about things that are going out into different things. Let me just continue reading. Let me just skip all these parts. And it reads, these verses tell us that at least a portion of all God's sons left with Moses and the rest of the children of Israel during the Exodus, despite the legend of a pre-Exodus exodus from Egypt by God's sons Eri, Areli, and Arodi. And that's basically what I wanted to get from this article. It's telling you that before the main exodus, our main exodus from Egypt, before the main exodus of the sons of Israel from Egypt, this article is basically going into how some Gadites and some Israelites and some Edomites and some Arabs that were in the land of Egypt at that time, because they came there, they came there because due to Egypt due to the plenty that Egypt had during the famine, as the history goes, because through our forefather Joseph, the progenitor of the tribes of Ephraim and Manasseh, that he predicted that there would be famine, and he stored up the bounds of Egypt, which was a huge boost to Egypt's economy during that time. And you can even look it up historically that this thing actually happened. That famine that made Egypt big, there are records of it. You can look it up. Alright, so for that's not what I'm going into right now. That's a completely different topic. What they are saying is that during the time when we were still slaves in Egypt, when again our people were still slaves in Egypt, that some of the Gadites actually migrated to West Africa, which is false, because first of all, the scriptures had never gone into anything like that. There is no record of that in the books of Moses. So I'm going to get first in the book of Genesis chapter 46, verse 16, just to point out all the children of God. So this is the book of Genesis 14, verse 16. And the sons of Gad, Ziphion, and Haggai, Shuni, and Esbon, Eri, and Arodi, and Areli. And these are all the sons of God. And basically what this article is saying is that the sons of God that are Eri, Arodi, and Areli, they migrated to West Africa and formed the Igbo people. Because if you go into the history, the first kingdom in which the Igbos had was the Inri kingdom, and they called the name of their king during that time Eri, which was one of the sons of God. That's basically the history about it, and they connect that name, to the and use that name to connect to the gather. It's what they don't understand is that this Imri kingdom, it came up. It was built up. I believe it was 1000 AD. Before the 1000 AD. After that would be after 70 AD. So when our people were forced out of the land of when people were forced out of our land, the land of Judea, and forced to scatter to Europe, to Asia, to Africa, and then converted to West Africa, where they fully where we completely forgot about our heritage, and started building up all these all these other different kingdoms, and worshiping and going off and worshiping all these other different gods, which, as scripture says, neither us nor our fathers knew, which is one of the causes. So basically, this Igbo heritage that we have, as for those of you brothers that go back to being Igbo, the Yoruba, all the other tribes, the Hausa, the Ijo, all the other tribes that are here in Nigeria and West Africa, they are the heritage that came as a result of our causes, even though they achieved so many great things, with the Mali Empire and the like. They are not something to be proud of, all right? Their true heritage. That's why I don't, subscribe to all these that's something interesting, something I'll go into another time. But that's is what what was I going to say? Anyway, they're not. Let me just go back to what I was saying. They're not something to be proud of. We should our main focus should be building up the house of Israel. Should be building up the nation of Israel, which is what is which is, of course, is our original heritage, and is the most important heritage to us. Because all these people that speak about how our people go back to the Israelites, I say that are people again, how the Igbos go back to the Israelites, they are mostly using it just as a buffer to show that they are special because they are Igbo. No, not that they are special because they are Israelites, but rather they are special because they are Igbo. They are better than the other tribes here in Nigeria, even though they are all Israelites. Because most of the people that believe that Igbos are Israelites believe that all the other tribes here in Nigeria, including the Yoruba and the Hausa, are not Israelites. That they are just basically Hamites. And us, the children of Israel, are suffering, scattered under the Hamites, but not realizing that this is one of the causes which the Most High put upon us, where it's basically that your eye shall be evil toward thy brother. Let me go to that. And let me just go to that. Let me not butcher it. So this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnants of his children which he shall have, which is what's currently going on in Nigeria, with all these disputes, with all this Jake against Jake, the black on black crimes in America, the Jake against Jake violence, in other countries where Israelites are, these causes are falling upon us. And the only way to get rid of these causes is to come back to the Most High, Yahweh, in truth, in spirit and in truth, and not just halfway, not connecting yourself to those fake Jews, those Amalekites, those issues that are over there in the land of Israel, not trying to not accusing your brethren of being Hamites, saying that they are heathen, they're not part of our people, because there are a lot of people that are doing that, not just the Igbos. I don't have people, Israelites, that are saying that the northern kingdom ants are scattered in Africa, that the ants, the Latin tribes and the Native American tribes. We have people saying that every so-called white person that is out there is an Edomite, that there are no Israelites scattered among Esau. We have all this madness going around in our people, accusing fellow Israelites, fellow men of Yahweh, fellow children of Yahweh, that declare the name of the Most High, that believe in this truth wholeheartedly, and calling them heathen. That's not right. That's the reason why that's the main reason why I even made this video, just to show the folly of our people that think this way. This isn't the time to be accusing one person. This isn't the time to be accusing somebody that is trying to come into this truth of not being an Israelite. If your spirit resonates with this truth, and we always see this, if your spirit resonates with this truth, if you believe wholeheartedly in this word, and that makes you an Israelite. Since we cannot bring out pedigrees, we cannot bring out our heritage, our family line, all the way back to Israel. We cannot connect our people all the way back to Israel again like we could before, because Esau has destroyed those books. Alright, I just wanted to do a little something on this. It ended up going longer than I thought it would. So I just wanted to bring this out a little bit, just to clarify this doctrine about our people. Like I always say that. But a faction of our people, let me just say like that, which is the Igbo tribes, believing that they are of the children of God, and believing that that some Israelites left the land of Egypt before the actual exodus of Moses, which is actually false. That did not happen. And most importantly, our people, they're believing that only one, and our people are accusing other members of our people, the Gentile, the Gentiles, that they are not, that they are actual natural Gentiles and not Israelite Gentiles, the Gentile foreigners, the Israelite foreigners, accusing them of being heathen. So with that, I'm going to end it there. All praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham Rakak Wadash. Shalom.